We start in the capital at the Tante playing field as we look at some American golden plovers foraging in the dry grass with some pectoral sandpipers. We can see the distinct white eyebrow and the mottled golden brown back. The smaller pectoral sandpipers can be seen with that sharp demarcation between the chest and the white belly. Across the street in the drains of Tante, we see a juvenile tricolor heron practicing his hunting techniques. You can see as it makes a shade over the water with its wings and try to grab the fish as they run along. Moving to the east coast, the Woburn MPA, a Wilson plover is seen
Wilson's Clover.
preening himself. Further up the east coast, we get to the Sagesse pond. It has been dried for the middle of the year, but as the first rains come, you can see the sandpipers foraging. On the right, we see a least sandpiper with his greenish yellow legs next to a semi-palmated sandpiper with the black leg. Those are part of the peep sandpipers, very hard to distinguish between each others. A spotted sandpiper in non-breeding plume is seen hobbling around. Still at last suggests, and some ruddy tonestones can be seen foraging. They're easily recognized with their small chunky body and bright orange legs. Fast forward into the heart of the rainy season, and the pond is back up to its deeper levels. A pair of common gallinaws can be seen wrestling over a succulent crab. Common gallinaws are some of the most common waterfalls to be seen on Grenada, and they're easily recognized with their very bright red face shield. And this one seems oblivious of the scientists recording him as it eats the succulent crab. The migratory season is well on its way. The barn swallows are back. You can see them preening as if they're resting to recuperate after the long journey. Some of these birds have traveled over 2,000 miles to get here, and you can see them looking for a place to rest on the debris of the Sagesse pond. Most of the mangroves have been removed, and only a few areas of small remaining debris is left. You can see a few more of the barn swallows. I call these my three musketeers. They didn't seem to bother with me being there recording them. They were busy flushing and preening. You can still see debris from the excavations, mangrove stems and roots. There's a few seedling white mangroves trying to make a return. With the deep water, some of the ducks are back. A small group of ruddy ducks are seen foraging on the far end of the pond. They're normally very shy duck, but they're oblivious of the scientist's presence. Male ruddy duck is easily recognizable with its ruddy brown plumage and a bright blue bill in the middle of the breeding season with a white cheek and a black cap. You can see as they dive deep to forage at the bottom of the pond. In the background are some lesser yellow legs and spotted sandpipers foraging. The female ruddy duck would need a closer look to distinguish it from another duck. Later in the evening, when the ducks are settling in, you can see everybody's preening. The bright bill on that male in the middle, bright blue bill, is very visible with the right light. But they're transitioning to non-breeding plume. And the male next to it, you can see with a more darker black bill. Here is a scoop and a shovel. With the lack of cover at the pond, most of the migratory ducks are coming, but going elsewhere in a day or two. A pair of blue-winged teal can be seen swimming on east into the evening. There were normally groups of 100 ducks here, now there's only a handful. On the Sagesse beach, a brown pelican is settling in for the evening. Further up the east coast, we move to Tante beach, a new emerging hotspot and really good boarding site. Black-bellied plover is seen foraging on the waterline. They're normally very shy birds, but this resident one will be seen throughout the year here. It is in the non-breeding plume, so the bright black belly is not seen. However, if it were to take flight, you would see no black armpits. This would distinguish it from the early American golden plover, some of the other plovers. A rare sight of a gull-billed tern is seen, as one of two taking a bath on the coastline. This is only the second gull-billed tern recorded in Grenada in over 130 years. It's in the non-breeding plume. You can see the thick black gull-bill. In the emerging grassland, it will be a seasonal grassland. A closer look can be seen of a pectoral sandpiper with the white underbelly and yellow legs, still in somewhat breeding plume. You can see the sharp demarcation between the chest and the white belly. It's one of the easier ways to distinguish the pectoral sandpiper from some of the other medium-sized sandpiper. There's also a thicker bill at the base with a yellow base and a black tip with a slightly downward curve. A pair of short-billed dowitchers are also seen foraging in that new wetland grassland. They're much shyer birds than the pectoral sandpiper, but much prefer to stand there and hope not to be seen. A group of greater yellowlegs is seen near to the wetter areas as they forage for small crustaceans, while a lesser yellowleg can be seen near them. It's much easier to distinguish the lesser yellowlegs from the greater yellowlegs when they're seen together foraging in a flock. A pair of cattle egret is also looking for goodies flushed up by the blue water. The bright yellow bill white plumage is one way to distinguish a cattle egret. from the nearby juvenile little blue heron. Here we can see juvenile little blue heron with pale greyish bill with a black tip, as well as a greenish greyish leg. Another cat egret is seen foraging in the dry grassland area, looking for grasshoppers and crickets. They have a peculiar way of targeting their prey and distracting them with a spin of the head. You can see the bright yellow bill, the yellow eyes. Whimbrel is foraging in the dry land. Whimbrels can forage in multiple habitats, and the strong bill allows them to feed. You can see its dark greyish bluish leg. It's a fairly large shorebird. Some would have a pink mandible at the base with a banded cap. This would distinguish them from the much larger long-billed Carlo. Whimbrels are fairly brave shorebirds. Solitary sandpiper is seen here, as it's often seen alone. You can see the white speckling in its brown wings, as well as its distinct white spectacles. It is slightly larger than the spotted sandpiper and sometimes bobs as well, but smaller than a lesser yellowleg. This green heron can be seen enjoying a bath on the opposite end of the river to the solitary sandpiper. He's oblivious to the yellow-crowned night heron standing over him. This yellow-crowned night heron slowly walking. He's stuck in a crab. The green heron is taking a bath just below him in the water, but he's focused on this crab. He's slowly sneaking. Night herons can be seen hunting as day as well as night. They mostly eat small crustaceans like crabs, but would take baby turtles. A rare red knot, very thick medium shorebird, chunky shorebird, long bill, a greenish leg. It's just a little bit up the coast at the Crowshoe Bay. The Tante and Crowshoe Bay are becoming new hotspots for shorebirds. They're mostly undisturbed. We move up to the Antwine Lake, and an osprey is seen sowing just above. It's early in the morning. This juvenile tricolor heron is unaware of the osprey's presence over him as he preens. The American coot can be seen with its white shield, preening its feathers to start the day. Common gallinoid can be seen as a good size comparison next to the larger chunky American coots, and the red face shield is a contrast to the white shield of the coots. It's peaceful and tranquil on the lake as the sun is coming up over the mountains. In the middle, we can see a resting laughing gull, and behind them, a group of a dozen ruddy ducks who has been resting on the lake throughout the year. Most of them are in the non-breeding plumes, but you can see females as well as male. It's all peace and quiet on the lake. The osprey suddenly plunges into the lake, but misses his target. And you can see him shakes off the water as he elevates to make another attempt. This startled the coots, and you can see them run into safety. Although the osprey does not normally attack coots, the sudden disturbance startled them, and they can be seen swimming away from the area. A pair of pie-billed grebes was seen also, shaking off after the disturbance. But it doesn't take long for the birds to settle down and get back to foraging. It's breakfast time.
There's Flappy.
We move further up the east coast to Bathway Beach. An American oyster catcher can be seen foraging on the sand. They're easily distinguishable with their grey back and white belly, with black head and neck, and of course their thick orangish red bill and the red eye. In the breeding season, the bill would get much redder than this. We move to the Levera Pond, where a pie-blue grebe can be seen taking his evening bath. It's easy to recognize them with the black band on their short stubby bill. They also have a long, robust body, which is different to the nearby ducks. It's early morning just north of the mainland, as a flock of brown booby dives into a shoal of jacks as they move through the channel of Rondankai Island. The brown booby is the most common diving seabird you would see. Most of these are adults with the white belly, dark brown back, as well as the bright yellow bill.
There's Flappy.
An American oyster catcher stands looking on as the school of fish get more dispersed, making it difficult for the birds to get a meal.
Season.
The male magnificent frigate bird shows up a bit late to the party, but frigate birds are not diving birds. They would much prefer bullying the smaller bird and would gladly take one of the bait fish off the booby. It's just after the end of the breeding season, and while most of the other seabirds would move north following the fish, the brown boobies would be seen around throughout the year, waiting for opportunities like these. Later in the year, on the sister isle of Carriacou, an assortment of terns can be seen fishing as they get ready for their migration. Brown boobies also seen resting on a rock next to a brown pelican with a group of royal terns. Here we can see sandwich terns as well with their black bill and the yellow tip. Back to shorebirds. Wimble would be the largest shorebird seen in Grenada. Although they were listing of a long-billed Carlo, Wimble are much more common. Head to the Tyrrell Bay mangrove here you see Wimble calling out. The willets would also be some of the larger shorebirds seen. And this willet at the Petit Carenage Reserve, seen in the middle of the pond, just taking a rest. The yellow warbler is also seen at the Petit Carenage pond. The rufous cap and slightly streaked breast. Although it's a little bird, flying off seemed to have startled this nearby adult tricolor heron in full breeding plume. It comes to an end in September at the Rosal Pond in Carriacou. You can see this common gallinule chicks waving its tiny wings to the ma, hoping to get some grub. This one adult is seen with 4 chicks as well as a juvenile behind her.